Hi, I'm Joe Kreisberg from the Mass Association of Community Development Corporations, and this morning with our partners at the United Way and LISC, we're hosting an informational breakfast about the Community Investment Tax Credit. Our guest speaker will be Governor Charlie Baker. Let's hear what he has to say.
Now, for those of you who don't know that much about our administration, there are actually two former CDC executive directors in pretty senior positions. Crystal Cornegay, who ran Urban Edge, is the head of the Department of Housing and Community Development. And Nam Pham, who ran Viet Aid, is the head of the Office of Business Development at the Secretariat level of Housing and Economic Development. Now, these organizations, and I visited a lot of them over the course of the campaign, do an enormous amount of really good and important work and have for a really long time in communities all over the Commonwealth. And in some cases, it takes place over a very long period of time. And if you're not there and you don't watch it happen, you might, in fact, actually see the results of years and years of work and not really appreciate what took place in the meantime. And one of the things I did during the campaign was several times I went out and visited CDC leaders and just had them walk me around their neighborhoods. And one of those neighborhoods I walked around was with Nam in Fields Corner. Now, Fields Corner, 10, 12, 15 years ago, was a pretty scary place. And there's simply no other way to describe it. And if you walk through Fields Corner now, which I did twice over the course of the past 15 months, almost every storefront is occupied with a small business of one type or another. Almost all the property in the community is occupied. A lot of it's owned by Viet Aid. A lot of it's owned by public-private collaboratives, and some of it's owned by the folks who live in the community. There's a school located in that area that was very troubled. And literally over the course of the past 10 or 15 years, building by building and block by block, working with city agencies, public safety folks, Commonwealth agencies, and some federal organizations, as well as a number of private lenders and developers, they took their neighborhood back from some really bad people and turned it into a place where families, seniors, kids, working adults, and small businesses are thriving. And this has happened over and over and over again all over the Commonwealth for a very long period of time. Now, there's all kinds of numbers in that report. Numbers are good. I'm a data guy, and I get that, okay? But the numbers in this case only speak to part of what the Community Development Corporation movement's all about. Because in the end, the good ones, and we have many here in Massachusetts, transform neighborhoods, sustain communities, and create a sense of positivity and forward momentum in places that desperately need it to be successful. And this is a lot like any other sort of natural act, in the sense that when a neighborhood starts to fray, it doesn't fray all at once. It phrase a little bit at a time over time until you wake up and realize, holy moly, what happened? And it works exactly the same way in reverse. Because a troubled neighborhood does not suddenly overnight wake up and boom, it's all better. It's literally one building, one house, one storefront after another, with persistence, determination, and perseverance to take it back. And those are the people and the places behind the numbers. And part of what I love about this particular program is it really does create opportunities for public-private partnership and for something more than just a financial engagement. You know, one of the things that's become kind of the new theory in politics is it's really great if you can get somebody to contribute $5 or $10 to your campaign every week over a long period of time, because then they're invested. And when they're invested, they become the people that puts the sign on their lawn, that makes phone calls to their friends and encourages people to get out and vote. Because for years and years, the way campaigns worked was you had the money people and you had the political people and the activists. And there were like two swim lines that ran next to each other and never really overlapped with one another. And the new vision of political campaigns is you want everybody to be in on both sides. You want, people who are activists to be small dollar donors who invest in your campaign both emotionally and financially. And the great thing about a program like this is it makes it possible for CDCs to establish not just financial relationships, but also to be able to bring really smart, experienced people into their conversations about how they do their work and how they might be able to finance and develop the next building and the next block and the next storefront and the next program model. And that's a really good thing. Because whatever we do on our side, and frankly whatever they do on their side, everybody's always looking for more intellectual capital to go along with the real capital. In this community and the folks you represent, and the people who are part of the United Way and the folks who are part of the donor community, there's a hell of a lot of really smart people in that group. And sure, they can bring resources to bear, but they can also bring brains and relationships and experiences, all of which can help community development organizations do more and do it better. And the final thing I'll say, and then I'll sit down, I was having a little debate with my friend Tim here, who I've known since, we've both known each other a really long time. Kind of stinks when you reach a certain point where you can say things like, I've known you for 50 years. Yikes. Just really odd because we're both still in our 30s. I don't quite understand that at all. Yeah, mathematically complicated. But we're debating the cap associated with this program. And I said, look, my view on this is I can't think of anything I'd like more than to get to the point where the statewide cap on these needs to get raised. Because I think this is the sort of thing we should do more of. And if this community came to the administration and said, you know what, that $6 million cap, we really need to make it 12, I'm in. Okay? I'm in. Because I think this is the sort of thing we should try and do more of. And my big message to you all this morning is these organizations, they have the metrics, they have the history, and they have the data to prove that they make a difference and they succeed. But the thing you really need to understand is in many cases, they are absolutely the core of their communities, the focal point of their communities, and they do all sorts of things in many cases to both sustain neighborhood and community development and to create it in places where it's desperately needed. And And this is an investment that's absolutely worth making. Thank you very much.